Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday's the New Monday. And today we've got Sizwe Shabalala. Sizwe, how's it going? Welcome to Friday's the New Monday podcast.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. It's going quite well. I'm very excited,
Yeah,
and the journey is going. So yeah, it's a very exciting journey though, because I'm still new in it. So yeah.
yeah, that's good. So, Sizwe, you are in the property game, right? And you buy properties. When you buy properties, what do you do with them?
Okay, when I buy properties, mainly now because I've just started, well, about 2 years or so. But
Come on,
my
man.
goal
Two
for
years.
now.
You're not starting.
But the 2 years has it's there's quite a lot of learning there. You make a whole lot of mistakes, and you have to pick yourself up and get along. So this 2 years has been it's been very good to me. I mean, it's also psyched up my confidence, and because when you start, the confidence is a bit low. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know who to ask.
Yeah,
So, but just to answer your question, I buy these properties, and currently I'm just renting them out. And
nice.
I'm a bit lucky for now. I can say I know it's not luck, but I would still use the word lucky
It's not like
because
in property.
the property,
You're doing the work. Come on.
yeah, the properties that I am buying,
Yeah.
they are all cash flow positive.
What does that mean, cash flow
Meaning
positive?
um, meaning that from the word go, when I buy them, I'm actually making money out of them instead of taking money out of my pocket, maybe to pay bond or to fix whatever it is that needs to be fixed. So it just means that the properties that I am buying,
Yeah.
they are actually paying off themselves and still leaving me with some good money in my pocket.
Really?
Like, yebo.
Okay, great. This is interesting. I think in my journey, I've seen quite a lot of people that actually buy properties and they bond them. They go and take a loan, and they still do a top up. So well done to that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it's been I think that the groundwork that I've been doing
Yeah.
is helping me a lot. I mean, reading the books and also attending some classes or seminars. It's actually doing wonders. Listening to people who've been there before, hearing what their mistakes, and so I'm actually learning from those mistakes. Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, there we are. We just started off shooting on what you're doing in the property space. We didn't even ask where you're from, Sizwe. You know, like what do you do every day? So maybe let's start off from there. Where are you from,
Yeah.
Sizwe?
Okay. My name is Sizwe Shabalala.
Okay,
Full name Tandi Sizwe. I was born in Soweto. My parents are both from KZN.
nice.
So when I was born and I was very young, like 6 months, my mother was actually doing a teaching course at the college of, I think, Soweto College. So I
Yeah,
was actually forced to actually go live with my grandmother because she couldn't really take care of me at the time.
yeah,
So I went to KZN lived with my grandmother, had a very nice rural life there, and then
yeah.
came back 5 years later when I was ready for school. And I stayed in Soweto all my life, and then moved to Nashurena, which is also in the Joburg South. And
Yeah.
here I am today.
So Sizwe, you're a real Zulu boy, eh?
I'm a real Zulu boy, yeah.
Nice. And I think it's encouraging, to hear that, you from Soweto, and you're already doing properties. I meet some people that are always pitting on themselves. Hey, I'm from the hood, Ekasi, so this thing, you need capital to do it. And I'm always seeing people almost wearing a victim mentality on them. And I'm very glad that I actually have
Mm.
someone like you who is from Soweto and you're doing it now. I mean, within the last 2 years, you say that it hasn't been easy and you've been lucky. Um, But if it's not for the work that you've put in, do you think that maybe the story could be different now?
Yeah, if it wasn't for the work that I put in, I mean, I wouldn't really be where I am now. And so yes, you need to put in a lot of work.
Yeah,
You need to meet a whole lot of people who have walked that path, and
nice.
just listen to actually their ideas, listen to their teachings, and you also just need, yeah, you need to learn, you need to read books. I mean, reading books really opens up your mind, and you start thinking
Give
in a
us about
clearer
maybe
way.
one or
And,
two
yeah.
books, Sizwe, maybe some books that have opened up your mind. One or two.
Okay. The first book that actually opened up my mind was it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I know a whole lot of people attest to that book. So I'm also one of them,
Yeah,
because
I'm also one of those people.
yeah. Before
Yeah,
that book, I really wasn't a form like I wasn't someone who just read a lot. I mean, I would just read newspapers and sports and everything. But
yeah,
I'm telling you, once I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad,
yeah.
it actually opened me up to a whole lot of new world and a whole lot of possibilities. Something that you would see in the movies. I was actually just I started visualizing. I started knowing how to visualize, knowing how to actually just close my eyes and just think of where I want to be. And
Nice.
so after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I went on to read a whole lot of books in his series, like the Cash Flow Quadrant, and just understanding more in depth what it is that he was talking about.
Yeah.
And then another great book that I read was Jason Lee's book from South Africa. So that one
He's a
helped me
local
a
guy.
lot because, yes, yeah, he's a local guy from Cape Town. So
Yeah.
it actually helped me more because now I was looking at everything from a South African point of view and not maybe from an
Yes.
American point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those are very, very interesting books that I've read, and quite a lot actually. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you're not doing property and if you're not doing reading these books on an everyday, what do you do? Do you go to work or do you?
Uh, I go to work. I work for Massmart. I'm doing IT support for them,
Okay.
and yeah, that's my everyday life. But in between all of that, I have to. I always make sure that I check out some deals. I mean, you get spare time. You're always on the internet, so I would open up maybe Property 24 pages. I would open Gumtree, and then
Yeah.
just have a look at some deals, and then just maybe call in just to find out if the place is maybe still available, and after work just get to view those properties, and if it's
Yeah.
close to work during my lunchtime, I wouldn't mind just driving and viewing the property. And yeah, instead of doing the everyday thing that maybe everyone else does during lunch, where you just meet up and have fun, my lunchtime days are always just trying to get more out of property. Maybe sometimes even reading a book during my lunchtime. Yeah,
My man. Why
yeah.
why do you do that? What's the motivation there?
I guess the motivation is within my space, the IT space. I am always looking at people who are much older and who are much more experienced than I am,
Yeah.
and it just makes me scared to see that these people are actually we are actually in the same space, even though that very same person is like 10 years older or maybe has an advanced experience of 10 years, but
Yeah.
we are all in the same space. So I just realistically look at it that if I'm going to stay here also for another 10 years, I'd still be where I am. I mean, it won't change. So I want more than that. I'm a family man. I've got a wife. I've got 2 children. So I actually want more for my family. I want to spend more time with my family. I actually dream of just going out and watching my kids play sport maybe the whole day, and on a Tuesday or on a
Nice.
Thursday. and not worry about what my boss is actually gonna say and what my boss is gonna have a look at a time and say, but you are late and all of that. So that's the motivation for me. I want I see a whole lot of people who are much more successful than I am, who are actually in the property space, who have a whole lot of time, to spare, and spend their time with family. They go on holidays, and so that's the life that I want. Yes.
I'm going to stop posting my Facebook on when I'm going on holiday, because I think you're getting jealous there, man.
Sometimes it's good to get jealous, eh? It takes you places.
Sure. So, but Sizwe, let's connect the two, right? You're saying
Yes.
that there's a lot of people that you're seeing who are in the property space, and it sounds like they own their time, right? And they have more time. But I mean, what does buying properties and having cash flow have to do with either going on a holiday or maybe having time? I mean, how do we connect those two together?
The two connect very, very well, because the more cash flow you are able to make, the more money you are able to make, and the more properties that you actually have maybe in your pocket, it affords you more time to actually it gives you actually a sense of time and a sense of belonging, and the more that you do get, it gives you time to actually spend maybe during holidays, to have more holidays, because there's more money coming in, and
so
you are less
salary maybe.
Yeah, and you are actually less stressed, because I mean, when you are just full time at work and nothing else, all you worried about is your next meal. You worried about rates, and you worried about paying bond. You worried about all of that. So once you have property and a good cash flow, you actually the money that you get there, you can actually use it sparingly to actually give you another life, or to even pay for your maybe bond if you are experienced enough. So it actually just takes away a lot, and those two actually do connect.
Okay, great. So within the last 2 years between you and your missus, I take it your missus is also on board on this. I mean, give or take, how many properties do you guys now have under your belt in the last 2 years? Yeah.
In the last 2 years, I can say we have 2 properties, and then currently we are on our 3rd property.
My man, well done.
Yeah, and it's been quite a journey, because when I look back, I mean, 2 years is, for some it can be a very long time, but for me it's like 2 years was just very short. I mean, when we started, we had actually envisioned that we should maybe try and buy 2 properties per year, but it really didn't go according to that, because but we are actually at a very good space. I mean, if you look at it, it's our 3rd year now, and we are on our 3rd property, and the best thing is that the properties are cash flow positive.
Yes.
And the good thing about our properties as well is, from day one, I look for properties that already maybe sometimes have tenants. Because maybe that already have tenants and are cash flowing positive, and then I just take over the tenants sometimes, and just tweak a little a bit of things there and there, and then just add maybe the good contracts, and then just carry on. So it's been.
You take over the tenants.
Yes,
and that has worked for you.
It has worked. Yes, it has worked. I've had a bit of challenges, 1 or 2, but I can say that those challenges just brought a good learning experience for me.
Sure.
But it wasn't very hectic. It was just a small challenge. But it wasn't something that would maybe bring me down. No. So it actually worked for me. It gave me a lot of experience in that regard.
Okay. Now, Sizwe, how do you buy these properties? So obviously, I mean, you mentioned that now you have 3 and in your 3rd year. So it almost looked like, if we look back, it almost looks like you're doing 1 a year. But how do you fund them? Because for some people already they're thinking, yo, 3 properties. So actually it means that you have 3 properties plus the one that you're staying in. That makes it 4.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now on these 3, how did you finance them? Should I make an assumption that all 4 of them are bonded with the bank at the back of it? I don't know. How do you finance them?
Yes, correct. All 4 of them are bonded with banks. So I'll just focus more for now on the investment ones. The first 2, and then I'll also highlight on the current one that I'm busy with. So our first property, which we bought in 2016. Yes, we actually saved a bit of money for a deposit, because we got a 90% financing from the bank.
Sure.
And since it was our first property and we didn't really know all the avenues, but what we did, because of all the books that I read and using other people's money, I actually borrowed some money from my brother, which covered the 10% the 10% that the bond wouldn't give us, and then just also the lawyer fees. But 90% of that it just came from the actual bank. So I guess financing is very good if you open up all the avenues. And then on our second bond, the money that we got, I had opened up credit cards, so I actually used my credit card also just to finance that. Still using the other people's money.
Yeah.
And it actually works. So what I always try and do is just avoid using my money. So if I use a credit card, then I know that when the bond is registered and the money is starting to come in, the cash flow, then I can just do repayments of that credit card. And then once it's been repaid, then I'm looking now also maybe for another opportunity. And then on our current bond, so from the property number 1 to property number 2, you see that what we're doing is all different, but it's all other people's money. The first one I borrowed from my brother. The second one I use credit cards. Yeah. So on our current bond that we actually we also got a 90% on that one. And what we did there is my wife actually, when she started working, she bought a house for her parents. So we actually we actually looked at that house, and then we got equity from that house. Oh, so nice. Since the bank gave us, the bank gave us 90% as well on that one. So we used the equity from the house to actually pay the 10% and also the lawyer fees. So we're doing quite well in that regard. Yes.
So it sounds like you're using quite a lot of creative ways. You're not letting your inability to look for money or to have money, and you're using creative ways to actually look for money, as and when you require the closing costs, deposit, the lawyers. I mean, these are all accessible to as many people. I mean, credit cards, anyone can get a credit card. You know, if your credit profile is good. A lot of people, they have relatives. You've just mentioned brother there. But, you know, that depends also the level of the brother. Because some brothers are the ones that come and borrow from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So well done on that, man. That's looking very creative there. And I think the more you're creative, it then becomes easy to get to your opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Okay, cool. So who's managing all of these properties? So now you're on property number 3. Don't tenants break your stuff? Don't they run away without paying rent? I mean, I always hear people saying that, I don't want my house to to take my house for someone to rent it, because number one, the tenants are going to break my stuff. Number two, who's going to manage it for me? So I'm always hearing people coming up with excuses, you know. But you sounds like, I mean, number three, so you got to have maybe some kind of a formula. I mean, what can you share with us on how you are doing it?
Yeah. So presently, I am actually managing these properties. I think because of the numbers, since I'm on number three, I don't have that much. So it's a bit easy for me to manage them now. But going forward, I mean, once you have more properties in the bag, then you would really want a managing agent to actually deal with that. But then I did actually try to get a managing agent, and we tried it for a month, and it just didn't work, especially with with what I'm actually using now, because my tenants are mostly maybe students, since the properties are in the CBD. So, and they are both the first and the second properties are actually not too far from a university, UJ. So
Nice.
I get a whole lot of students, and most of them are maybe from rural places, and so it's actually not them who actually pay the rent, but their parents.
Okay.
So the challenge has been that with a managing agent, they do things the way they do it, and they actually want maybe all the rent to be paid up by maybe the second or the third day of the month.
Yeah.
And what was challenging for me and my tenants was that, since most of them are from the rural areas and they depend on their parents to actually pay up,
Yeah.
and sometimes you find that their parents are domestic workers and so forth.
Yeah.
So it was actually a challenge to actually pay up the rent maybe on the first and the second day. You'd find that with most of my tenants, I gave them actually until the 7th of the month to pay the rent, and they've never really disappointed me. So you find that maybe the last tenant would pay maybe on the 7th day. So it didn't actually go along with what the managing agent actually wanted. So it didn't really work out. But in the future, when I get more properties, I would actually want to change all of that, and maybe with the type of properties that I would also get, like it depends. If maybe I get like young working people and all of that, then it's easier to actually manage, because they probably get paid on the 25th or on the 1st. So rent is always just easy to come by. So I guess with time things will change, and I'll also have to be stricter and just line it up so that I get someone actually to manage the properties, and then maybe stay stress free, because with managing your own properties, you would get calls in the odd hours of the day or sometimes at night, and they tell you that the place is flooded. Sometimes you have
had
to
one of those.
actually yeah, I've had that, and but the best thing is also to develop a good relationship with maybe the body corporates, since since both my properties are actually flats.
Okay.
So when you develop that relationship with body corporates, and you sometimes it spares you driving at night. So you just call someone, you call maybe the manager, you call the building manager, so then they'll just cover for you and get maybe a plumber to actually get in and do the work, and you get billed maybe at the end of the month.
Sure.
So that's.
So I mean, that's leveraging off someone else's skills and time there as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I mean, out of your 3 properties that you're buying now, I mean, do you have an example that you can share with us in terms of how much you bought it and what type of cash flow you're getting? Just to give an example to someone out there who might be thinking, this is impossible to be done. You mentioned that you're making profit, so what kind of profits can the next person look at, and why?
Yeah. I think the best example that always I always just get excited when I talk about this one is my first property. I mean,
Yeah,
another person would tell you in their 10th property, that's when they got excited. For me, it was the first property because I had looked around and I was always nervous in whenever I had to make a decision about getting the property. But with my first property, everything just fell into place. And immediately when I went and I viewed the place, I was actually with my wife, and the previous day we had viewed another property which was very very beautiful,
yeah.
and the owners were actually staying there, and she fell in love with that property. And then when we viewed this one, I actually fell in love with this one because I mean I could just see the money from the property. I mean, it was a 3 bedroom flat. Yeah, it was a 3 bedroom flat already with tenants living in, and
Yeah.
so I just calculated, and it made sense, and we decided to go with that one. And what I can share on that property is that sorry, we the property was actually put down for about 350,000 rand. It's a flat in the Joburg CBD, Joburg Park. Yeah, 350. So we tried to negotiate, and we actually negotiated
Actually,
until
Sizwe,
yes.
just yesterday, I was
Uh-huh.
having a conversation with someone, and they were saying to me they do not think that there's a property that is less than 400,000.
Yeah.
And I was saying that there's plenty of them.
There's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. You just know you just have to work and look around and know where to look.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank
I mean, so we actually got this property. We actually bought it for 280,000 rand. So you can
you.
imagine from 350,
Yeah,
we negotiated down to 280.
nice.
And yes, and as I explained earlier on, how we actually financed the property, which was very good. And when the property was registered, I mean, we made a gross amount of 6,000 rand from a property that we bought from a property that we bought for 280,000 rand. And then if you minus everything, all the expenses, I mean the levies was about 950 rand.
Yeah,
The tenants pay their own electricity, so the water is included in the levy. We just pay maybe insurance and all of that. So all in all, what we put in our pocket after everything after the bond and everything, we get close to 3,000 rand on the property. So I mean, your first property and you're already netting
ching,
3,000 rand in the pocket. I mean, it's ching ching all the way, yeah. So it was quite a good experience. So whenever I talk about that property, I actually get very very happy, and I can just go on and on the whole day, and yeah.
So, look, so this sounds like a very good property to me. And I'm just
Yeah.
thinking that um, with Joburg standards, um, if you have 10 of these, it means that you are actually cash flowing money in your pocket, 30,000 rand.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I know a whole lot of people are scared of of doing business in Joburg, but for me, it actually works. And as you're saying, I mean, I see a whole lot of potential. There's a lot of potential there. And what's actually nice about it is that the big businesses are also coming in. I mean, right next to our property, there's now what is it, a Debonair's that was actually that is actually opened. So it's I think the transformation of the city of Joburg is actually working in our favor, and we are just doing most of our to actually capitalize on this and get more properties there. And yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, I mean, the more properties that I get from there, and the also the good thing about Joburg again is that there's quite an influx of people just moving in and out. So you also don't struggle too much with getting tenants. And yeah, I've been lucky also to get the right tenants all the time. Yeah.
Good. Sizwe, it is nice chatting to someone else who is seeing the opportunities. And it is nice to chat with someone who is actually doing the opportunities, right? Not just,
Yeah.
we are at a bottle store somewhere and we're having the conversation and we're talking about the third person to say they're making 3,000. We are talking about you making this 30,000. 30 days, 3,000 is coming in your pocket. No questions asked, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No questions asked. Yeah. I mean, where would you get the money? Yeah. No one would just give you that amount of money. So I would
Exactly.
encourage anyone who hasn't started to actually look at starting. I mean, I know there's a whole lot of challenges out there, but if you
How do you
don't
start?
start,
Yeah, how do you start? How did you start?
I
Like
guess,
steps, you
yes,
mentioned earlier on that, during your lunch times currently, you are actually spending time reading books and you are actually spending
yes,
time looking on property 24,
yes.
could that be the starting point for someone else who knows nothing about property maybe?
I guess the starting point is actually getting your mind in the right place, and the avenues that help with that is there are is actually just maybe going into Facebook and just typing like properties and all of that. You will find groups there that actually speak about properties.
Yeah,
So the way I started, I actually in 2015. When I was just checking out my Facebook, I saw Robert Kiyosaki again, and there was a free 2-hour presentation that was going to be held in Pretoria,
yeah,
and I followed that, and I went to Pretoria, drove to Pretoria, and I guess after the 2 hours of the presentation, I mean, I felt okay that this is actually what I want to do,
sure.
and I actually bought into a 3-day course that happened in December 2015. I
Yeah,
tell you what I actually got out of that course is very, very magnificent. I mean, after the 3 days, I was actually skeptical. I mean, what will you learn in 3 days? It's just 1, 2, 3 days. You are at first I thought, nah, man, this is maybe a gimmick. But after I went there, sorry, I took my wife there and we went.
yeah,
We actually learned a lot. They gave us a lot of practical examples. They gave us, they psyched our mind, our mindset as well. I mean, they taught us the skill of negotiating. I mean, we were there in a room full of people we hardly know, and we would just do examples and speak to people we don't know and
yeah,
negotiate a deal like there with people we don't know. So it actually worked for us very much. And I can tell you that immediately after that course that we did for 3 days,
yeah,
we actually went on and we registered our company. And well, at that time, we just knew that this is what we wanted to do. And I can definitely tell you that before that, we were just laymen, people who didn't know what they actually wanted. We were just taking a chance going there.
yeah,
So I would actually encourage people to actually look at these courses and maybe also attend the free sessions that are always advertised on property. I mean, there's many companies that are actually doing
yeah,
this. I mean, when on Facebook, there's a South African Property Investors Network. I think in short, it's SAPIN.
yeah,
There, I mean, if you can just sign up there and then just the first thing you would do is just browse through and then see all the questions that people are asking. Those are actually good questions, practical questions. People are asking questions on challenges that they are facing and property questions and the answers that they get. So once you are always on that platform, you actually start seeing also who the people that are giving the best advice are, and you actually learn from there, and you actually get psyched up also just to want to learn more. And when you are ready to want to learn more, that's when you actually go to now these classes, or also just these network events.
yeah,
They, I mean, it's quite good what happens there. You don't have to be a professional of any sort when you are there,
yeah.
because
I mean, we've
you
bumped
find.
each other at the networks before.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's where I met people like TJ and a whole lot. I mean, people
Yeah,
who are way ahead of me, and I actually didn't feel out of place as well because it's very accommodating to someone who's starting out.
sure.
You get a lot of people who are also starting out, and you get a lot of people who are in their first deal, their second deal. So if you attend those classes or you attend those sessions, you actually get psyched up, and you start that's where your learning actually starts.
Nice. I call that, staying close to the fire.
Uh-huh.
I say that when you've got something going and you just you're not so sure whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it, but
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
need to stay close to the fire, because the more you are close to the fire, you're going to get warm, right? With what other
Yes.
people
Yes.
are saying
Definitely.
or what other people are doing. And before you know it, you get hooked by earning 3,000 every 30 days on one property,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, in South Africa, in Joburg, there are not so many people that are getting paid 30,000 rand. If we take an example of, say, hey, Sizwe, let's just scale this thing 10 properties in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 years. And per property, you're averaging 3,000, which will mean that you're banking 30,000 every 30 days. Wouldn't that
Yeah.
change? Is that where you're chasing? And wouldn't that change anyone's lifestyle? Because that's 30,000 coming to you with, I don't want to say with no effort. There is some form of effort, but it's quite minimum when you're managing
Mm-hmm.
your properties.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, who wouldn't want that? That should be something that actually draws you closer to wanting to do this. And the beauty of it, yes, is getting that money and getting to use that money in whatever it is.
Cool. So Sizwe, in terms of someone else, I mean, we've just given a rundown of how someone can start, right? And which is quite easy. And by the time you get to where you can be earning 3,000 every 30 days, we can scale that to about 10 properties, and 30,000 will be hitting your bank account. But um, you mentioned you're doing this with your wife, right? Now,
Yes.
how involved your wife? How is your wife involved in terms of support, in terms of working together? Because it sounds like you guys are doing it together. And how is it important to you? What have you benefited from it? Just having your missus working with you, because it sounds like
Yeah.
she's working with you there.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's actually working wonders for us because the good thing is that my wife is an accountant, so
Is that a
she's
good thing
more
or bad
involved
thing?
in good and bad. Good and bad because I would bring deals through and she would just crunch the numbers
I
quickly and say,
know, I
nah, nah,
know.
nah, don't. But it's actually also it's actually working very well because on a financial point of view, she's the one who's actually stronger, and she would take care of that side. So it gives me more time to actually just wander around looking for properties, driving day and night, looking for the properties. And being working with my wife, it has been blessing very much because sometimes you'd find that the chips are down, and I'm a bit down because of the deals that maybe I missed, and she would just help me to actually show me the right way, and then just get me up again, and get me more into a positive state here again, and so that we can just keep going on. So he's actually a pillar of strength for me. Whenever sometimes I go wayward, she would just pull me by the arm and just say, "Hey, this is our goal. So this is what we've always wanted to do. So please, let's focus. And the same goes the other way around. She would maybe also sometimes just lose track a bit. And so being with a partner, it always just helps you to actually get back on track. And it's working quite well. And I wouldn't do this on my own. I mean, I love doing it with my partner, and also it creates a stronger bond also in our marriage. I mean,
Nice.
we yes, it creates a strong bond because we are like-minded in more ways than one, and now we're doing business, something that we both love, and
Yeah.
yeah, it creates a good bond. And also our children. I mean, we spend a whole lot of time with our children. Sometimes most of the time we take our children also with searching for these properties. So
Nice. Nice.
it works wonders. I mean, on a weekend when I'm just lazy and not doing anything, my child would sometimes ask, "Daddy, when are we going to check for other houses?" And so yeah, I mean, they
That's
actually
good.
enjoy that outing. Yeah, it's actually an outing for them, and it worked for us. So it's very good. I would advise people that are also doing it to actually involve their partners, and I think it would work quite well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sizwe, thanks a lot for coming out, and it's been a pleasure hearing your story. And I just want to say to you that well done so far. And what does Sizwe and his missus look like in the next 3 to 5 years?
Whoa. Hey, I love that question.
Yeah.
In the next 3 to 5 years, so before I answer your question, there's a whole lot of things that we are actually working on in the background now. Also from a personal development state. I mean, I've attended some classes with Robin Banks, the Mind Power.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Investing in
I actually
yourself.
investing in myself or in yourself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's really helping a lot in your personal development, and it's actually helped us as a family as well, and to also maybe visualize and just work our minds. So what's actually happening is I've learned also to create some visual boards, and there I would maybe create a 1 year visual board, and then a 3 year visual board, and a 5 years. So just going back to your question, in the next 5 years, I see myself, or I see us doing quite well, and getting a whole lot of properties, and through the education that we are currently also involved in, the property education, coaching and all of that, it will open more avenues for us in terms of learning,
Yeah.
sorry, and also getting to widen our spectrum of properties, and the way of searching for properties. We are also going to be soon. We will be starting also to go to auctions, and maybe get properties from there. And
Yeah.
then the type of properties that we're looking to get from there is a bit of rundown properties. And what we do there is just tweak it a bit, fix it, and just make it a bit nicer to the eye, and then sell it, sell the properties. That would actually help generating a bit of money for us to actually get more properties, that more long-term properties that we will keep and rent out. So in the next 5 years, I'm looking to actually have quite a lot of properties in very different places,
Yeah.
and also I would love to actually do this now on a permanent, yeah, to do it more, maybe permanently. So hopefully the learning that we will get in the next 5 years, I mean, I'd be doing the properties like permanently, just waking up in the morning and just going to search and doing all of that. So that is actually my dream for the next 5 years. And it's something that I will definitely push to achieving, and with my wife also in my corner. She also has her own dreams, so it's really going to be beneficial for us. And yeah, we're looking
Nice.
at a very bright future ahead of us. Yeah, definitely.
Good. I think it is possible. It can be done. I've seen a couple of guys who are doing it, so it is not far-fetched. So keep on grinding, keep on farming, Sizwe. Yeah, you'll get there, and we'll be inviting you again.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be invited again, maybe in the next year or so. And hopefully by then, I would just extend to our conversation and also take a whole lot of people through what we've done from now till then, in between. So it would be really good, yeah.
Yeah. Sizwe, it's been great chatting with you. Thanks a lot for coming out on Friday's a New Monday. Where can we find you? If anyone wants to get a hold of you, they're like saying, well, I'm also from KZN, I'm new from Joburg, or whatever reason that they want to get a hold of you. Where can they get a hold of you, Sizwe?
Yeah, people can get a hold of me on Facebook. I am Sizwe Shabalala.
Okay.
On Instagram as well. One word, Sizwe Shabalala.
Okay.
And my cell phone number is 071 199 47774. Sorry, 071 199 4774. And I actually enjoy speaking to people about property. Also, people who are just starting out. I mean, I was also lucky when I started out. I had people who were willing to actually assist me. So why wouldn't I want to assist someone who's also starting out and just looking for ideas and looking to actually start farming? It's quite good, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Sizwe. Stay close to the fire. We'll chat again soon. Cheers, man. Goodbye and God bless.
Thank you, TJ. God bless you too. It's been very wonderful.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye.